Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Dead Malls, your one-stop shop for malls, retail, and of course, everything the details. Tonight as we leave the comfort and safety of small-town Westland Mall, we travel just over the river into the land of Lincoln, revisiting and retelling the story of one of my favorite abandoned malls, a mall that I know means a lot to a good chunk of this channel, a Season 4 classic. That mall, of course, being Galesburg's Sandburg Mall. Still around all this time later, and still super creepy, dark, dingy, and utterly fascinating. But before we can get into any of that, I'd like to take a moment to shout out our winner, who was able to successfully guess the next mall. Very nice job, Shades99. If you'd like to have your chance of being next episode's shout out, stick around for the next challenge. But anyways, let's round out this crazy year that has been 2023, head into Sandburg Mall, tell its story one last time, and see how it was doing as of my visit in later December of 2023. As we step into the moldy mall through the long abandoned Osco drug, you'll be able to quickly get a sense for how deteriorated this structure is. Large portions of the ceiling falling out, mold on everything like rot, and broken glass covering the ground like snow. In fact, as we walk through here, see just how many times you can see the broken glass sparkling in the light, almost like the winter snowstorm which raged outside. Before we tell the story of Sandburg Mall, I had to make a quick visit down to the Old Mall Theater. Now this was the one location I wasn't able to get to in my first visit, but since the old JCPenney has since been bricked over, I felt it safe enough to check out the old theater showrooms, and it just blew my mind how much was seemingly left behind. This holly jolly music, I had to throw it in. It's so funny, and in the context of the abandoned mall, can you imagine how horrifying this would be to suddenly hear playing throughout the distorted speakers, echoing up and down the halls? Sandburg Mall's story begins over 50 years ago in the town of Galesburg, Illinois. While I did tell a pretty accurate version of Sandburg's story in my Season 4 episode, I figured I may as well retell it here. By the late 60s, Galesburg zoning officials were pushing for the city's northward retail boom. Fueled by its decently growing neighborhoods and newer suburban developments, they were hoping to attract the likes of a regional class shopping center. In 1971, they would do just that, attracting a joint venture between Illinois-based Kenroy Incorporated and Iowa-based General Growth Properties, who each saw the town's blue-collar population of 36,000 to be sufficient enough to supply the mall with all of the foot traffic it could possibly need. Soon zoning plans and different ideas were drawn up, with officials deciding on the mall's iconic Y layout. In 1974, construction would finally begin on the massive mall, with hopes reigning high. Was this the telltale story of how a regional mall killed off its small town's downtown? Yes it is, but the future was in these malls, and Galesburg's, peaking out as the only structure around miles of corn, would soon set its opening date for the fall of 1975. Let the bits of this video where I turn off my flashlight or turn it away convey to you that this wasn't just darkness, it was advanced darkness.
This isn't your average everyday darkness. This is advanced darkness.
As eager anticipation rose, residents were soon given hints at what was to come. The mall was to be named Sandburg Mall, after the late and great poet Carl Sandburg, who was native to town. Featuring anchors Sears, JCPenney, and Bergner's, the mall would contain just around 50 stores under its roof. Construction would go on throughout the summer of '75, and soon an opening neared. Every dead mauler dreams of the perfect shot, the perfect moment to frame a perfect mall. Maybe it's finding neon that still work, or filming an awe-inspiring fountain display. For me, that shot is looking down the hallway while turning on the lights at Sandburg Mall. Seeing the mall flicker back to life while most remain dead or flicker out. Seeing the black mold and decay spread across the ceilings and smashed up storefronts like some kind of plague. The cherry on top would be to hear the radio-crackled speakers begin distorting lost tunes as the abandoned mall wakes from its slumber. On October 1st, 1975, Sandburg Mall would officially open its doors to the public. What Galesburg's populace found was a modern shopping oasis. Quietly tucked on the north side of the city, amid fields of crops and new developments, Sandburg Mall featured the exact same look you see today. A GGP gold standard of terrazzo flooring and chiseled brick planners. Some stores to open with the mall included Radio Shack, Diamond Dave's, Musicland, McDonald's, Spencer Gifts, Osco Drug, Stage, and of course the aforementioned anchors of Sears, JCPenney, and Bergner's. In the mall's Y-shaped layout, fake bulb-lit skylights would showcase each anchor court, revealing planters, benches, and simple trees to decorate the atmosphere. In the center court, a massive diamond-shaped skylight towered over the mall, featuring several different seating areas beneath. Sandburg Mall, of course, would instantly be a hit, as droves of people in the thousands would come each day from all over the area, just to see what the mall had in store. The rest of the 70s would see Sandburg Mall bring forth a new era in the North Side's growth, with the mall anchoring just about everything retail related in the area. It wasn't until the early 80s when the first additions would be sought out. Coming up here, you'll get to see the old model train layout. It hurts just as much seeing it now as it did then. One small detail I didn't even realize until making a return visit was how the train display features very small placards with information, I guess modeling the railroad off of Galesburg's very own rail system. Interestingly though, the placards feature the mall's old logo, the one they used until 1992, so that begs the question, how long has this model train been here? I've been here so many times and I've never been down this road. I'm kind of curious what's down here. Dude, this is creepy as... Ew, nasty. Yeah, I know. If there's a cool picture opportunity, you should take it. While I didn't go to the very end of the service hallway once containing the mall office, I did at least go partway. I guess I was just shocked at how far back it went, and I thought with each step how I was just inhaling more black mold spores. So, yeah. Maybe Sandburg Part 3, the Haunted Community Room. Ooh. In 1982, a brand new 2-screen Carasodes theater would be constructed in the south entry wing outside JCPenney, greeting shoppers with movies like E.T., Rocky III, Star Trek II, and The Poltergeist. The new mall theater would bring about an entirely new crowd with it, as the old downtown theater would close. Sandburg Mall throughout the rest of the 80s would flourish at peak occupancy, similar to other malls nearby. However, by 1990, times began to change, and the small town market began to shift. Newer big box openings nearby like Hobby Lobby, Walmart, and Lowe's would begin to drain its foot traffic. Target would join this parade in 1994, opening across the street. In 1991, GGP, seeing this competition, would put forth the mall's second major expansion. A brand new wing, new stores, and a fourth major anchor to hopefully bring Sandburg Mall back up to that gold standard. It's got like the green shells. It's an old GNC. Hardwood. On November 9th, 1992, Sandburg Mall would officially reopen to the public, dedicating its new expansion. What shoppers who stumbled back into the mall found was a brand new Kmart as the mall's fourth major anchor, sort of just smushed into the northern nook of the mall's Y layout. The new addition prompted the construction of a new entry wing, giving the mall a sort of peace sign layout. Other additions to come with this expansion included several new storefronts, new logo and theming, and a new checkered center core tile. While this expansion did bring some life back to the mall, it wasn't near as much as GGP hoped. And with that, GGP would ultimately sell the mall to Ken Tucker and Associates in the late 90s. And with a new era on the horizon, Sandburg Mall stumbled into 2000, already facing new problems.
Ooh, there's a big spider web right in the door. Okay, maybe I'll go through the broken window.
So throughout this footage, you might see some of my friends pop in here and there, and then in some clips it might just be me on my own. And that's actually because this video's footage comprises of several different trips to Sandburg throughout 2023, including footage filmed just a few days ago during one of the very far and few Midwestern snowstorms of winter 2023. Coming up here on the left, you'll see a storefront which is made up of a lot of black and red colors, with an iconic silver design lining it. This, of course, was the former Musicland turned Suncoast in '92. You guys would have to let me know down below though. Do you have any memories shopping at this store? The early 2000s brought about a whole nother load of problems with them, beginning in December of 2003 with the closure of the mall's twin cinema. The theaters would be used a few times afterward as a discount theaters and a church, but would always ultimately end up the same way: abandoned. As 2005 came around, almost every tenant's 30-year leases were due, with most choosing not to renew them. Brands like Foot Locker, Bronze, and Suncoast would all close up shop, seeing more success in bigger and better malls like those in the Quad Cities. To make things even worse for the already struggling mall, 2004 would see the departure of Galesburg's Maytag factory, one of the city's largest employers. A mini recession would sweep through the town and be made even worse by the real recession. Sandburg Mall, through all of this, would simply sputter away. In 2007, the mall would be sold to Sandburg Mall Realty for $3.3 million. However, they would do little except attract a few small mom-and-pop shops. Sandburg's last big draws at this point were its massive anchors, which still tied down each end of the mall. However, by 2014, even these would break free. When I do post these abandoned mall videos, a lot of you often comment how I should always go with someone. And while yes, I did go with someone in one of these visits, the other two I was all on my own. Once again, in a no man's land. Anything could happen here, and you would never know about it. That's why the lawless land of the abandoned mall is so scary, especially in one as decrepit as Sandburg. While walking some of these corridors, I was just waiting to hear or see someone come around one of those corners. Also, get a load of this. That old CRT TV is still here. I would have thought for sure someone would have gotten it by now, but I guess nobody has interest in this old TV. Oh well. In 2014, Sears, going through their very own store closures, would cease operations at Sandburg Mall, being the first anchor to drop ship and never return. Shortly after, Sandburg Mall Realty would file for bankruptcy, selling the mall in 2015 to the most generic realty company name I've ever heard, Mall Group Investments, for just $1.3 million, a shocking $2 million less than it was valued in 2007. By 2015, it was clear the end was near for Sandburg, as even the mom and pop shops closed, leaving behind a mall which often had its light shut off in certain wings just to conserve power. In 2016, Kmart shuttered their location at Sandburg, citing poor sales, leaving the giant entryway storefront completely abandoned. And with JCPenney and Bergner's holding out as the last two anchors, we begin to reach the dark end of Sandburg Mall. In October of 2016, shortly after Kmart's closure, a Texas millionaire by the name of G.L. Baccaris would purchase the mall through an online auction for a staggering $690,000. Buck was an extravagant man, known to make weird decisions and buy dead malls with tall tales and big promises, ultimately letting the mall close. He announced plans to completely revitalize the mall, gutting the structure and turning it into an outdoor retail plaza. JCPenney and Bergner's would remain through these plans, but of course, they would go nowhere, leading to the inevitable. In January of 2018, JCPenney would close their doors, and later that August, Bergner's would follow suit, leaving Sandburg Mall completely anchorless. By then, it was a hollowed-out ghost town of old memories still lit up for elders to use as a mall walking track. But even this wouldn't last. The mall would officially close on September 28, 2018, after the last remaining store, G&C, closed up for good, leaving Sandburg Mall officially abandoned. Coming up here, you'll see a walled-off storefront where the walls have since been torn down, giving us a peek into another era. What was this store? Well, that's where I need your help. While looking through pictures of old Spencer gift stores, I was able to find this picture, which matches up almost identically. But at the same time, I know Spencer's was down by GNC. But that was an all-glass storefront, alluding to the idea that it was a newer variation. So I guess my theory is that this pink storefront was the original Spencer's Gifts, and during the 92 remodel they moved down to GNC into a newer all-glass storefront, and this one was walled off. You guys will have to let me know though, am I just dead wrong, or did I crack the case? While not too much would happen to the abandoned Sandburg Mall portion itself, some of the anchors would see new life. Shortly after the mall's closure, a Car-Mart tire would open in the old JCPenney Auto Center, with the JCPenney itself becoming a wholesale bargain warehouse. Very similar to the last two bargain warehouses in the last two episodes. Hey, I'm starting to see a pattern here. The old Kmart would be the quickest to be taken over though, becoming a U-Haul in 2019. Actually, I think this is a really good use of the space. However, the abandoned Sears still sits as it did upon closing in 2014, albeit highly decayed, and the Bergner's itself is finally being turned into a VA clinic after all these years, set to open in 2024. As for Sandburg Mall itself, its future is uncertain. 5 years later, and the city still wants to get rid of this vacant eyesore, and it's becoming increasingly more vandalized, trashed, and decayed every day, to the point where entering it in 2024 is going to be a serious health and safety risk. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think the future holds for Sandburg Mall? Do you see any hope in saving this structure, or has its glory years long gone? Guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching tonight's episode. It's always a good day when I'm able to revisit a classic nightmare. Now, thankfully, no phones went off this time, and luckily we saw no blood, but it was still just as creepy all the same. If any of you are ever in the area, stop by the outside of Sandburg, snap a pic of the entryway sign, and maybe do a lap around the mall. If you guys enjoy my Dead Mall content, consider subscribing, as it helps me out so much and it means the world to me. Also, you should totally go check out the Patreon for exclusive content, sneak peeks, and so much more. Next weekend, we'll be live at a mall of your choosing, but 2 weeks from now, on January 13th, we'll be back once again, starting our second expedition of Season 6, somewhere out east, a mall with undoubtedly the greatest neon still around. Guess which mall we'll be at, and I'll shout you out in the next episode. But until then, have yourselves a lovely evening, Happy New Year's, and peace out, guys. See you later.